Real quick before the video starts, I have a new channel based around green text stories on 4chan, and I'll be uploading videos daily over there. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to the channel in the description. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Petty Woman in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I financially screwed over my sister after finding out she's close with my ex and his wife. Usually, I would not take personal advice from strangers online, but everyone in my life seems to think I am a petty, scorned, bitter woman, and I need objective advice. My ex-husband, currently 43 years old, and I, also 43, were college sweethearts. For me, life felt perfect. I trusted him completely. That is why it was so shocking when I found out he was in love with his much younger colleague. She was around 24 at the time. I will not get into the details of how I found out, but the affair was well known at his workplace. When I confronted him, all he said was, 'I'm sorry, I tried really hard not to fall for her.' He did not seem sorry at all. It felt like he wanted me to leave him. So I did. That was 6 years ago. Our son was 4 then, and it was the worst time of my life. I honestly do not know how I got through it. Because I was desperate, I wanted him to fight for me, to fight for our family, but he did not. He was quick to sign the divorce papers and did not even fight for custody. It was as if he had started a new life and completely erased the old one. It took years of therapy to feel normal again, to stop checking that woman's social media and comparing myself to her. The fact that she is very pretty and charming did not help. His family loved her, and as disgusting as it sounds, one of our mutual friends even said out loud, "I do not support cheating, but I mean look at her," when I told her about the cheating. I guess that was what everyone was thinking. This one was just stupid enough to voice it. So I had to cut off that group of friends too. They got married 3 years ago and now have a daughter, a picture-perfect little family. The current arrangement is that our son stays with my ex on weekends and holidays, which works fine for the most part. Last week, I found out my sister, who is 28 years old, has been in touch with my ex all these years. That would have been forgivable since they were close when we were married and she saw him as a brother, but she is actually best friends with his new wife. And she kept it from me for 6 years. I only found out because she left her phone at my house and I saw several texts from the wife. When I asked her about it, she just brushed it off and said it was not a big deal. I told her she can do what she wants, but I will be cutting her off completely. I was helping her pay her college loans and going no contact. She called me unreasonable and said I am being petty and unable to move on from something that happened a long time ago. She also said the wife is a lovely person and a good friend. She said she will be ruined financially. I told her to go away. Somehow, my parents agree with her. Update 2. This is my first and last update. So I spoke to my sister again. She apologized for reacting that way the last time and for keeping it from me all these years. She said she did not tell me because she knew I would ask her to choose, and she did not want to be in that position. She said she never wanted to hurt me, but at the same time, she could not bring herself to walk away from the people who had been there for her. She said it never felt fair to cut him off completely. Growing up, our parents were barely around. They were always busy with work. For a long time, it was just me and my ex who were actually present in her life. He was like family to her. Then she brought up the accident she was in about 5 years ago. I knew about it, of course. She had multiple fractures, hematomas, and internal bruising. She was in the hospital for a while and bedridden for weeks. I always assumed our parents were taking care of her. I never asked, and I never really checked in. I was too busy trying to manage a recent divorce, a small child, a career, and whatever was left of my mental health. She said it was my ex's wife who stepped up. She took her to every appointment, picked up prescriptions, brought food, helped her move around, and stayed with her when she could not be alone. At one point she said, "I know it hurts you, but she was there. He was there. You were not. You did not even come to the hospital. I thought I was going to die, and you did not even show up." She cried while telling me all this. She said she still wants a relationship with me, but she is not going to cut them off. She also said she is fine with me not helping her with the loans anymore. She is planning to get a part-time job and figure it out herself. She told my ex and the wife about our conversation. Apparently, they offered to help her financially, but she turned it down too. I just listened. Then I told her she is free to do whatever she wants, and so am I, and to never call me again. So that is where we are. Slender Man is, my dad said, the sister was taking OP's money to pay a loan she is responsible for, so she should have chosen the ex instead and stayed there rather than taking money from someone with a child to support. This also highlights the problem of siblings raising their siblings because eventually they become adults who have their own lives and children and cannot be available anymore. Loki Lord said, it seems like the new wife really took over OP's life. Got the husband, had their own child, and took OP's sister in. I cannot understand how someone just shows up and does all that for their husband's ex-sister-in-law. I consider myself a good person, but even I would not do that unless my husband was a widower, not divorced. The sister clearly picked a side and does not want to admit it. Also, how is the sister living? She says she is going to apply for a part-time job. Was she working full-time and is now talking about getting a second job? It does not seem like the sister is living with the parents. This next story was made in the AIO subreddit by a user named Chemical Seesaw. The post is titled, I want to break up with my fiance over a name change. A few weeks ago, my fiance, who is 27, and I, who am 28, were talking about our wedding, which is scheduled for June of next year, and our honeymoon. At one point, I jokingly said something like, we'll see about that, future Mrs. X, and she visibly cringed. She told me she is not going to be Mrs. X, and I said, okay, then I will be Mr. X, because I really do not care if she takes my name or I take hers. I just want us to share one. She said, no, I'm keeping my name and you can keep yours. I asked who our future children would be named after. She said her because she is the mother, so I would be the odd one out. For context, I grew up in foster care after both my parents died. I did not have any other biological family, so I was bounced around from home to home from the age of 5 until 18 when I aged out. I never felt welcome in any of those foster homes and never felt like I had a real family. I always swore I would have a real family one day though, so naturally I want to share a last name with my wife and our children. I truly do not care which name it is, mine, hers, or a new one we both choose. It does not matter to me. I just want a real family that I feel connected to. We have been dating for 3 years and engaged for almost 5 months, and this is the first time she has said she does not want to share a name. Previously, she never said anything when I called her the future Mrs. X, so either this is new or she has been holding it in. I have tried to talk to her about why she does not want either of us to change our last name, but she does not want to discuss it further, and I am at a loss as to what to do. Would it be an overreaction to break up over this since she will not talk to me about her reasons? She is acting like everything is normal, so I do not know what to think. Edit. This post received a lot more comments than I expected. Thank you to all who replied or sent private messages. I have decided to try to have one more serious conversation with her about my feelings on the subject. I have packed a box with all the things she has left in my house, so if it does not go well, I will return her belongings and end things. We are meeting at a park and I have a good friend who is going to stay nearby but out of sight, just in case things go south. If for no other reason, to have a witness that I tried everything I could to talk things out. Update. Here is an update to my post from yesterday. I am still processing everything, so I may not reply to comments right away. We met up at a park today. I asked her late last night if she could meet me to talk about something, and she immediately agreed because it seemed she thought it was about the wedding. My friend was with me but waited in my car so he would not be spotted. I decided to turn on the voice recorder on my phone because in the past, she has manipulated her version of certain situations to make it seem like she was blameless. I overlooked it before because I thought she was just used to getting her way, but now I realize that was a mistake on my part. I arrived early and walked around for a few minutes before meeting her in a picnic area. I asked her to sit down with me because I needed to ask some very important questions about our future. I told her I needed answers and I needed her to give me enough respect as a human not to walk away when I was trying to talk. I started by explaining again how I have never felt like part of a real family, not since I lost my parents anyway, and how important it is to me to feel that connection to my wife and children. It may seem like a small thing to most, but to me it is huge. I have lived most of my life feeling completely alone. She told me she knows how hard my life has been and that now she is here, so I am not alone anymore. Then I asked her if she could please explain exactly why she is so vehemently against us having the same last name, if she acknowledges how important it is to me to share a name with my wife and children so I feel like part of a real family and not an outsider. I reminded her I do not expect her to take my name and I am more than willing to take hers, hyphenate, or come up with something completely different. I just want to share a name with my wife and children so we are all one family unit. Her response surprised me. She rolled her eyes and told me it is so cringy when people have the same last name after they get married. That was her sole reason for us not sharing a name. I asked her to elaborate on that. She went into a rant about how she thinks it is cheesy when she meets a couple and they introduce themselves as the last names, and that it makes her want to throw up when she hears it. Along with many other ways, it makes her angry. When I brought up the fact that her parents have the same last name because they are married, she said that's different, and I would not understand because of being an orphan, which really threw me. Long story short, I let her know that I need some time to myself to really think things over and decide how I want to move forward. I asked her to give me time and I would let her know when I am ready to talk. She did not like hearing that, but I told her I needed to leave. So now I am at home thinking about everything and wondering how to move on. I know the relationship is over, but I have not made the breakup official yet. It is going to hurt for a long time, but I know what I need to do for my own mental health. I can compromise on some things, but I cannot be with someone who will not also compromise. Her belongings are still packed up, and my friend has offered to drop them off once I end things with her. Luckily, I live in a gated condo community, so once I take her name off the approved visitors list, she will not be able to come to my house. I know she will not react well when I tell her we are over. That is all. I am going to take some time for myself and try to get over everything. Ending an engagement is tough, and I do not wish this heartbreak on anyone. Thanks for the support from all of you strangers out there. If I have any other updates on my situation, I will probably post them to my profile so I do not take up space on the subreddit. Update 2. This will be the final update, I hope, to my relationship issue. Many people asked for a resolution, so I thought I would give one to those interested. I went to work on Monday and my boss could tell I was depressed, so she asked me what was going on. I explained everything on my mind and the conversation I had over the weekend. She asked if I wanted a distraction and offered to have me accompany her and her husband, who are the co-owners of the company I work for, on a short trip to meet with some potential clients. Since I would be working on the project anyway, she thought it might be good to have me in the meetings, especially if I needed to get out of town. So early Tuesday morning, the three of us left for the meetings. We were busy all afternoon and part of the evening, so I was not checking my personal phone. At 10 o'clock that night, I saw that I had a lot of missed calls and texts from my fiancé. By a lot, I mean over 50 texts and 19 missed calls since that morning. It seemed she went to my condo, and when security would not let her in, since I had taken her off my list of approved visitors, she became extremely upset. She started calling and texting me. Then she began contacting our mutual friends and her own family, none of whom knew where I was either. Her last-ditch effort to get me to answer was to threaten to call the police and say she had not seen me in days and was worried I was suicidal. When I did not answer right away, she actually went through with that plan. The police were allowed to enter the condo community, and when I did not answer my door, they could not do anything else and left. This did not please my fiancé, and she kept calling and texting. When I finally saw the calls and messages, I sent one text in reply that simply said, "I am on a work trip until Thursday. Please respect my need for time to think about everything. We will talk when I get home." Then I ignored everything from her for the rest of the week while I was away. Fast forward to Thursday evening. We landed back in the city and I drove home, wanting to go to bed and sleep the next day since I had been given the day off. I assumed she was lurking nearby because I was told later she tried to follow me into the gate but was stopped by security as she never scanned a parking pass. That is when she started blowing up my phone again. I texted her one more time to ask her to give me space and told her we would talk later, then I showered and went to sleep. By Friday morning, I had 73 more texts and 32 missed calls. At that point, I knew I had to end things with her sooner rather than later to get some peace. Long story made short, as of yesterday afternoon, I have ended the engagement. I took the same friend who was nearby last weekend so I would have a witness in case she did anything. She refuses to give the ring back because she thinks I will come to my senses soon and that she will keep it until then. I do not even care. She can have it. Her friends and family started calling me within 15 minutes of me ending things. I have blocked them all since they are being unpleasant and blaming me for everything. Judging by what they are saying, it seems she made up a story about me having a mental health crisis and wanting to be alone. Again, I do not even care. My good friends were told what happened when my friend sent out a text with a brief explanation. I hope she leaves me alone so I can heal from everything over time. I am just so emotionally exhausted. Coco Almonds Rock said, "In retrospect, I am always glad when the crazy ones reveal themselves over something tiny so the sane ones can escape years of chaos. I expect there will be more craziness happening here though, and we will get another update." Relentless Dandelion said, "I do not know if it was a power play planning to leave him in the future or something else, but there was definitely a reason she refused to share a name, and it certainly was not cringe." Talk about the tip of the iceberg, especially the part where he felt he needed to record their conversation because in the past she had manipulated her telling of certain situations to make it seem like she was blameless. This is going to be one of those relationships where the longer you are out of it, the more messed up things you realize were going on. This final post was made in the relationship advice subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "My mom is accusing my husband of abusing our daughter because he was abused when he was younger. I am a 32-year-old woman and have been married to my husband, who is 33, for 7 years. I have known him even longer. My mother, who is 60, watches our toddler daughter a few days a week while we work. Sometimes my husband's schedule aligns so that he can watch her. My mother has always had a problem with this. It began when my husband confided in my mother about the abuse he suffered as a child by a family member. I think he shared this because my mother's side of the family was going through something similar and he was trying to empathize. They used to be very close, even though my mother is very conservative and my husband has tattoos and piercings. She was skeptical of him for these reasons when we first got together. My mother believes that his past abuse means he might hurt children. She says she has read that children who are abused sometimes go on to cause harm themselves. Her doubts started when our daughter was born with backhanded comments and assumptions and came to a head yesterday when she arrived unannounced at our home while I was not there and accused my husband of harming our daughter because the child said that she was hurting down there. That was yesterday. I talked to my daughter alone to find out what was wrong. She pointed to her lower stomach and said she was hurting and needed to use the bathroom. She is 3 years old and sometimes confuses the names of body parts. I do not know what to say to my mother, but I know I have to say something. I do not know how I will feel about taking my daughter back to her grandmother's home to be watched there. I have no reason to suspect any harm and have never had any concerns. I used to be a mandated reporter, so I know the signs to watch for. My husband is a wonderful father. He has gone to counseling to heal from his past, and I believe he has made great progress with the trauma. We have raised our daughter in the most loving and trusting way we can and have taught her about her body and personal boundaries. My husband insisted on this because the thought of his child experiencing what he did is unimaginable. My husband is obviously very hurt and upset by my mother's actions. I think it is really unfair of her to assume he is dangerous just because he was abused. I am also hurt that she thinks I would allow my daughter to be in a situation like that. How should I handle this? Update. I have never done an update on Reddit before, so I hope I am doing this right. Also, I am on mobile, so I apologize for any poor formatting or grammar. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who commented. There was a lot of truth in what was said, even if it was painful for me to hear. My sister-in-law has been watching my daughter this week. I sent my mother a message expressing how wrong her actions were and how hurt we all were by it. I told her that she damaged her relationship with all of us, possibly for good. I asked her to please not contact my husband and told her that he will talk when or if he is ready. I also sent several links that were referenced in the original post. Thank you again to those who took the time to post them. My mother was very upset to hear that she will not be seeing any of us, especially our daughter, for a while. Our daughter cannot understand why she cannot see her grandmother, and of course, she is too young to really discuss it with her. That has been hard. Luckily, my mother has agreed to meet with a counselor who was recommended to us as a mediator. I met with the counselor this week to explain everything. It went really well and made me feel much better. It will be just the counselor and me. My husband is not willing to talk right now, and I do not blame him at all. The date for this meeting is still undecided because I am waiting to be ready too. I explained to my mother my fears that she could unintentionally or intentionally make my daughter believe something happened that did not. The counselor shared this concern as well. So far, my mother has respectfully kept her distance, and no Child Protective Services workers have shown up at my door. I reached out to a friend who is a social worker for advice on how to prepare if that does happen. Also, unfortunately, I believe some were right about abuse my mother suffered as a child. We spoke on the phone and she confirmed that she experienced some things she is not ready to talk about yet. I told her that I will support her and try to help her through it the best I can, but that she still has a responsibility to address the past so that it does not hurt people now. Thank you again, everyone. You have been very kind and helpful. Specialist Passage said OP's mother caused a great deal of damage. The husband opened up to her to help her, but his mother weaponized it. I do not know how they could get past that. To this comment, user Majestic Constant said, personally, I would not be able to get past this. There is no way back from accusing someone of harming their own child, especially if that parent has done so much work to ensure their child will never be hurt by anyone. There is also absolutely no way that grandmother will ever be alone with the child again. After a lot of time, therapy, and apologies, I might maybe trust them in a group setting again, but never in my house and never alone with the child. And even if it were true, what good would yelling at him do? If it were true, now he knows someone is onto him and he can either run or learn to hide this better. Grandmother made a terrible mistake on every level. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.